Hi, I welcome you all in YuktMind's unique initiative 10 Minutes and Newspaper Done. In this video, we'll be covering June 26th, the Hindu newspaper. You can download the PDF of these news from our website www.yuktmind.com under the Current Affairs tab. Or also, you can download the PDF from our Telegram channel, the link of which is given in the description below. Let's get going. In this video, we'll be covering 6 news, starting with India's strategic partnership with Egypt, Chinese support to Pakistan Army, the Titan tragedy, understanding interest rate risk, news about Pashupati temple in Nepal, and finally, India-U.S. drone deal. The first news. India and Egypt on June 25th signed an agreement on a strategic partnership as Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in Cairo. Three memoranda of understanding in the field of agriculture, archaeology, and antiquities and competition law were also signed. PM Modi received the Order of the Nile, the topmost state honor of Egypt. Among the past recipients of this honor were the late Sultan Qaboos, the ruler of Oman, Nelson Mandela, and Suharto, former president of Indonesia. The second news. According to officials, China has been helping the Pakistan army build its defense infrastructure besides providing unmanned aerial vehicles, setting up communication towers, and laying underground cables along the line of control. This is part of efforts to further shore up China's position as an all weather friend of Pakistan while ensuring the safety of growing Chinese enclaves in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, that is POK, set up on the pretext of securing the China Pakistan Economic Corridor, that is CPEC, road and hydel projects built in the occupied territory. Moving on to the third news. On June 18th, a submersible named Titan went missing. On board the missing vehicle were one pilot and four crew members traveling to see the wreckage of RMS Titanic, which is nearly 4,000 meters underwater in the frigid North Atlantic Ocean. On June 22nd, authorities informed that all five passengers on Titan died in a catastrophic implosion. International guidelines are in place to protect the now rust covered wreckage of Titanic, which is scattered across the ocean bed, as well as the visitors who wish to see it. The UNESCO guidelines stress on the long term preservation of underwater cultural heritage and the need to protect the surrounding waters by ensuring responsible, non intrusive access. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration guidelines are similar and insist that recovered material and artifacts must be managed as per professional standards. In other words, taking souvenirs from the wreckage site is strongly discouraged. So, what is the difference between a submarine and a submersible? While the two categories can overlap, a submarine refers to an underwater vehicle that is largely independent and has power reserves to help it depart from a port or come back to the port after an expedition. Meanwhile, a submersible is generally smaller in size and has less power, so it needs to work with a ship in order to be launched and recovered. Titan was working with a vessel named Polo Prince. The fourth news. Interest rate risk is applicable to all those investments that give us returns in the form of interest. Which are the investments that return interest? Fixed deposits, bonds, and debentures are, to name a few. Basically, debt instruments are those instruments where we, as investors, lend money and in return get interest. Upon maturity, the principal amount of these investments is returned to us. The difference between fixed deposits and bonds and debentures is that the latter could be sold or transferred during their tenure. Let us see the difference between FD and bonds. During the tenure of a fixed deposit, if we need funds, we can approach the financial institution to break the FD and get the principal amount back. This option is, however, not available in bonds and debentures. During its tenure, the holder of a bond debenture cannot get the funds back from the issuing financial institution, but can generate liquidity by trading it in the stock market. Let us assume Sashibai has purchased bonds issued by the Government of India. These bonds are to mature after 10 years. After purchasing these bonds, Sashibai realizes that he needs money to fund his daughter's higher education and is short of money. So Sashibai decides to sell the bonds in the stock market. The face value of each bond is say rupees 100 and interest payable as per the terms of the bond when it was issued is 9.5% per annum. After he purchased these bonds, interest rates in the market increased And now the new 10-year bonds being issued in the market are offering interest at 10.25%. Bond buyers will be reluctant to buy Sashi Bhai's bonds. However, since he needs money, he is willing to sell these 100 rupees bonds at a discount, say at rupees 92.5 each. As interest rates in the market had gone up, Sashi Bhai would have to suffer a loss. Similarly, if interest rates were to go down, freshly issued bonds may be available with an interest rate of 8% per annum. In such a scenario, Sashibhai will sell his bonds at a higher price and make profit. For example, a rupees 100 bond may fetch him rupees 105. When interest rates go up, bond prices come down, and when interest rates come down, bond prices go up. This is the interest rate risk. Of course, Sashibhai has the option not to sell his bonds till the end, and on the maturity date, he will receive the principal amount back. In that case, there is no impact of interest rate movement on his investments, and his investments are shielded from interest rate risk. The fifth news: Nepal's Pashupati temple was shut down for devotees on June 25th after the nation's top anti corruption body took control of the temple premises to investigate a report that 10 kg of gold were missing from an ornament weighing 100 kg. Pashupati temple is the oldest Hindu temple in Kathmandu. So let us read about Pashupati temple. Pashupati temple is a Hindu temple dedicated to Lord Pashupati and is located in Kathmandu, Nepal, near the Bagmati River. This is currently the largest temple in the world as well as one of the oldest temple. So this temple was classified as a World Heritage Site in 1979. The temple is one of the Padal Petra Sthalams on the continent. The Padal Petra Sthalam, also known as Devra Sthalam, are 276 temples that are revered in the verses of Shiva Nayanas in the 6th to 9th century Common Era and are amongst the greatest Shiva temples of the continent. The Divya Desams, by comparison, are 108 Vishnu temples glorified in the poems of the contemporary Vaishnava alvas of Tamil Nadu. Now, the final news of the day. US President and India's Prime Minister welcomed India's plans to procure General Atomics MQ-9B high altitude long endurance unmanned aerial vehicles. This sets the stage for acquisition of 31 of these armed UAVs, 15 Sea Guardians for the Indian Navy and 16 Sky Guardians, 8 each for the Indian Army and Air Force. MQ-9Bs, which will be assembled in India, will enhance the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities of India's armed forces across domains. As part of this plan, General Atomics will also establish a comprehensive global maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility in India in support of India's long-term goals to boost indigenous defense capabilities. According to General Atomics, the MQ-9B can provide roughly 80% of the capability of large human-flown maritime patrol aircraft at about 20% of its cost per hour. Thank you for watching this video. You can download the PDF of these news from our website www.yuktmind.com under Current Affairs tab. Or also you can download the PDF from our Telegram channel, the link of which is given in description below. Thank you.